Okay, so we have nearly 15 to 20 people in the live right now. We'll be beginning it shortly. So first of all, good evening to one and all present here. My name is Sidharth M. Joy, and I'm a rank holder of All India Rank 271 in the recently concluded civil service examination. That is the CSE 2025 examination. I got rank 271. So that's my introduction. And I am from the state of Kerala. I'm coming from the southern part of India, representing the state of Kerala. So that is all about me. I have completed my graduation in English language and literature from Marivanus College, University of Kerala, and my post-graduation also in English literature from the same university. So that is my academic background. Without much delay, can I begin sharing my story about the UPSC preparation? I'll make this live as interactive as possible. So I'm looking for the comment box. Can I begin the story of my UPSC preparation here? Is it okay? Everybody ready for that? Yes, because I'll try to make it as comprehensive and as concise as it can be. So let us begin from the journey of my UPSC preparation. First of all, everybody will have a curiosity to know whether this is the which attempt of mine is the recent attempt. So this is my fourth attempt. And this is my fourth attempt. And the most important and interesting thing is that I have cleared the UPSC prelims for the first time. Last 3 times I have been eliminated from the UPSC preliminary examination itself. So this is the first time that I got an opportunity to clear the preliminary examination. This was my first meet. And again, naturally, this was my first interview. I began my preparation in 2021. Now this is 2026. It took long 5 years for my preparation. So I began my preparation after 2021. After completion of my post-graduation, after completion of my MA in English, I started preparation for the UPSC examination. So I took a prelims comes mains batch in the lead IAS, which is situated in Trivandrum. Some of you might be knowing, some of you might not be knowing because it is an institute from Kerala. So my PCM course was there, and I in the first attempt I didn't qualify. It was even before coaching. After the completion of my graduation, I took an attempt without coaching. There I got only nearly, I think, 56 marks or something for the GS paper. I qualified CISA. And again, second attempt, I took coaching and I studied a bit good. It was an above average preparation. But again, I lost the prelims for 4.7 or nearly 5 marks. I lost the prelims GS paper. CSAT again, I qualified. And the third attempt was in 2023. That time I was doing my research in the University of Kerala. So the preparation was all messed up. Again, I lost the examination for nearly 7 to 8 marks. 2023. Some of you might be knowing about the difficulty level of that particular examination. So this was my history in preparation. So I just wanted to share this story so that I'm just speaking about the proper preparation that I have done for this fourth attempt. In 2024 examination, I took a break. I didn't write the 2024 attempt. I was saving my attempt and I was taking 2 long years for preparing for this 2025 attempt, which helped me in clearing the examination, which is the attempt that brought me before you people. Because of that particular successful attempt that I am sitting right here. Okay, this will make a try talking. Okay. So coming to this preparation, first of all, let me begin from how to begin the UPSC preparation. From my understanding, how to begin the UPSC preparation. Everybody will be having some concerns and questions regarding the beginnings of UPSC preparation. My beginnings was basically during my college time and post-graduation time. I knew that there is an examination like this, and I have also written the examination as a scribe for one of my college seniors. He qualified the examination and he got into the Indian Administrative Service himself. So at that point only, I was knowing about the nuances of this examination, that there is 2 papers for this examination. One paper is the preliminary GS paper, and the second paper is the CSAT paper, which is a Max cum English qualifying paper. So that was my first understanding about this examination. And in the first attempt, I was focused as like everybody, I was focusing on some certain set of textbooks. So in my understanding and in my opinion, if you want to begin the preparation, we can begin it from the NCERT textbooks. NCERT textbooks are something that introduces a person into the world of UPSC. But it does not mean that we have to completely study and take note of all the NCERT texts. Try to identify the most important texts that are necessary for preparation. I'll just give a small list about the most important NCERT text. One is Indian Constitution at Work. for Indian polity, Indian Constitution at Work is the most important NCERT text. For Indian economy, we have macroeconomics. Introduction to the macroeconomics textbook is very important for Indian economy part. And coming to geography, we have two important textbooks. One is Fundamentals of Physical Geography for the world geography, climatology, etc. And we also have the India Physical Environment textbook for the Indian geography part. Coming to history, we have the three important textbooks, that is Our Past 1 for ancient India, Our Past 2 for medieval India, Our Past 3 for modern India. And in addition to that, we can also refer to the Themes in Indian History series for understanding the different levels of history textbooks. So these are the very essential, very important NCERT textbooks that we should follow. But in addition to that, because when we are attempting to read textbooks like the macroeconomics text or the geography test, for the people who don't have a background in these subjects will definitely have a challenge in comprehending the content that is given in this particular NCERT text. So I suggest that if you're facing difficulty in reading any of this particular text, you can take the NCERTs from class 5 or 6 so that you understand the basics. If you can understand the content in all these textbooks, there is no need to read any other NCERTs. So this is the basic understanding about the reading of NCERT textbooks, which helps you to onboard into the UPSC preparation. So that's something that I would like to say, because just think about it. We are all preparing for this examination. We have completed our graduation, but the NCERT textbooks are something that is important for the school students. It is something that is meant to be read by the school students. So it is very easy for us, even if if we are facing any particular challenge in reading the NCERT textbooks only, we can refer to the younger textbooks or the textbooks for the smaller classes. So this is my understanding about the NCERT textbooks, which helps you to get a basic idea about almost all the subjects that are important for the UPSC exam. And coming to the PCM, choosing PCM courses, I am not aware about many of the academies in India. Even if you are planning to choose a PCM course in any of the civil service academies, just try to understand three most important things. One is definitely the classes. Is the classes good? Are the faculties friendly? Are they patient enough to explain things to us twice or thrice? Is it more overcrowded? Only if at all, the attention is only given to the topper. So all these things should be understood about the working of classes of a particular academy. That's very important thing. Second thing is related to the test series quality. Will they provide separate test for a separate, will they give a comprehensive prelims cum mains test series program? So think about the qualities of questions. Do they reflect the UPSC, UPSC style of asking questions? Are they checking the PYQ based understanding for setting up questions? So these things can also be checked. So first thing is faculty and classes. Second thing is test series. Third thing will be the academic environment. Can we develop a good peer group there? Are many people there? Will the library, reading room facilities, etc. be helpful for us? So the academy infrastructure, both the social infrastructure and the academy infrastructure should be checked about. So these are the things that you should keeping in mind while taking a particular course for a prelims comes mains batch in any of the academies. So if after taking the PCM course in any of the academies, or even there are many people who are asking me whether we can prepare for the examination without coaching. Yes, it's it is perfectly fine to study for the examination without any coaching. Coaching should not be necessary. We can study the examination with a self-study. But the thing is that we should keep something in mind while we are trying to study ourselves for the examination. One important thing is to understand which are the things that should be studied. There is a possibility that we will go overboard. We will study things beyond those that are wanted for the examination. So that's one mistake that we make. And the second thing is that without right guidance, we won't be able to able to apply the knowledge in the examination. So these two are the things that becomes challenging while we are preparing ourselves. But to our luck, to our fortune, there are many people. There are many people who are helping through social media platforms like the Telegram accounts, the YouTube channels, etc. There are many mentors who are simply or very easily explaining the concepts to you, how to crack this, how to apply the logics in the preliminary examination, how to structure the mains answer writing. So there are many mentors like that. So even if we are taking no PCM or particular coaching for this examination. It is fine if we can understand that what are the things that we should study, what is the limit that we should put for the things that we study. So that's the second most important thing. And the third thing will be the books that we choose. The books, I will share my idea of book, my set of books that I have referred other than the NCERT textbooks. Let's talk subject wise. The first most important thing was Indian polity, and I followed Lakshmikant for Indian polity. It's something like a Bible for the UPSC aspirants, because every person would love to read Lakshmikant, and every person do read Lakshmikant. So I suggest that Lakshmikant is again the most important material that we can refer to Indian polity, but make sure that we do a selective reading, because as editions develop, editions after editions come out, they try to increase the content of the Lakshmikant. So we does not need many of the factors. Many things should not be dealt in detail. That we'll come to that while speaking about the prelims and mains. So Indian polity, I follow Lakshmikant, and also there are people who follow D.D. Basu's Indian Constitution, but it is more or less like a reference material, and Lakshmikant is the most important or the basic text that we can study for the Indian polity. And the second important subject will be Indian economy. As we know, Indian economy, macroeconomics NCERT textbooks provides a foundational understanding. And my preference was, I have read the book Nitin Singhania's Indian economy, as well as Aman Soni sir's Indian economy book. At that point in time, Aman Soni sir was taking class in Trivandrum for us. So his examples were mostly from his own book. So I bought a book by Aman Soni sir. So Aman Soni sir's books and Nitin Singhania's books, Nitin Singhania's economy book are the two books that I have referred for the examination. And also there is another book that is very helpful, that is Shankar Ganesh Karpaya's Indian economy. But the slight problem with Shankar Ganesh Karpaya is that the book is very short and concise. The book is very short and concise, so that there should be, we will be in search of some more detailed explanation for the economic concepts. Those who don't have a background in economy, or those who are weak in economy, would Shankar Ganesh won't be sufficient, because it gives points in a very crisp and concise manner, but the background story won't be given in Shankar Ganesh. So that is one challenge associated with Shankar Ganesh. So that is all about Indian economy. And coming to history part, I love the subject history. I had a history is a subject that I love the most in the UPSC preparation. So I decided to have a detailed understanding of history. So I took the book by Poonam Dahiya's book for Ancient and Medieval India. That's a very large and very bulky book. So I don't suggest that for the preparation, because Ancient and Medieval does not have that much weightage in the examination. That was an academic interest that I took Poonam Dahiya for reading. But beyond Poonam Dahiya, the NCERT textbooks are sufficient for Ancient and Medieval. And in addition to that, I would say that the textbooks by the Tamil Nadu SCRT textbooks are very good for Ancient and Medieval, not for modern. For modern, I would suggest Spectrum only. Spectrum is, again, as we spoke about the Lakshmikant, there is also a tendency from the part of the Spectrum books who increase the content year by year, edition by edition. But again, we should make an intelligent decision in studying the most important parts and chapters from the Spectrum's book, so that we can make maximum utilization of the time that is available for reading a particular book. That is Rajiv Vahi's Modern India. Spectrum's History of Modern India. That's a good book for modern India. So these are the resources that was used by me for preparing for the history part. And the next most important subject, I think, is geography. I was very weak in geography. I had difficulty in cracking geography questions in many of the mock tests as well as the test series. So I tried to overcome that, because I needed explanations for geography. So I took the material PMFIAS. PMFIAS material is again something that I've used for geography preparation, especially for the prelims. But the most important thing is that PMFIAS geography is very, very, very lengthy. There are many information that are irrelevant for the examination. So I took a decision that while reading for the PMFIAS book, geography, I decided that I won't study any of the numericals given there, because there are many numericals, like the height of Everest is there, length of Ganga is there, and the depth of Mariana Trench is there. So such kind of magnitudes and numbers, I decided that I won't read that, I won't study that. So such kind of a decision should be, an intelligent decision should be taken before reading the PMF IAS book, because PMF IAS book can be used as a tool to understand the basic concepts of geography. We can understand the phenomenon, we can understand the science behind the phenomenon, we can understand the names of mountains, mapping, etc. So for all these things, we can use PMF IAS geography as a tool. And then Indian geography also, I followed PMF IAS again. The PMF IAS material is nearly 300 pages long, but there is only 120 to 130 pages of material that are very relevant for the examination. So the distillation process in distilling the content from PMF IAS is very important. And coming to environment also, I followed PMF IAS environment book. But coming to environment, the most important thing is that most of the questions from environment come up from current affairs. So in that sense, I have used the Vision IAS PT 365 along with my newspaper notes, to fill up the current affairs related to environment. Science and technology also same. I followed the class notes from Lead IAS prepared by my faculty Shahan sir. His notes were very good, and along with that, I have also followed the PT 365 science and tech developments. Again, reading PT 365 is a very challenging task because there are many numbers given there, but there are violet or colored boxes in the science and technology and environment compilations of PT 365. They are very important because they are giving definitions, concepts, and applications of scientific and environmental principle. Such things are very important for the examination. So these are the major books and materials that I have followed for studying. I think I have covered almost all the subject: polity, economy, history, geography, environment, science and technology. So generally, things about the subjects are almost covered, I guess, especially for the prelims examination. And now coming back to the current affairs part, because current affairs part, there will be again questions related to science and technology, environment, economics. Then we have the questions from world affairs and international relations, especially in the prelim section. So for that, we had in the Lead IAS, we had a class called micro class where daily topics would be given for preparing for the current affairs. I was following that particular class so that we get nearly 6 to 7 topics for prelims daily from the newspaper. So I was not a regular student, so I had a issue. So I will prepare notes for 1 month. The next month I would not be making, and the next month I would be coming back. So I made some of the month's notes, and also in addition to that, I followed the compilation. I followed the topic compilation of these classes, the particular topics where I should make note of. So I have made nearly note of 500 to 600 topics from the newspapers, which helped me in prelims. That was one way in which I made content related to current affairs for my prelims examination. In addition to that, for covering current affairs, as I have mentioned, I have also followed the material by Vision IAS PT 365. And after all this, there was something called the current affairs test. The current affairs subject test by many of the academies in Trivandrum as well as Delhi. I took those tests, and I made separate notes from the answer keys. For the topics which I am not familiar with, I made separate answer key notes so that I can refer that during the last 10 days of my preparation. So that was my almost about the content part of my examination. And coming to prelims. So now I'll come back to prelims. So the next session will be related to my prelims preparation. Okay. Coming to the prelims preparation, the first important thing was again content. So we had a plan of Sundays we will be taking test of a particular subject. We will take the 5 days. Monday to Friday will be taken for preparing the content for that particular subject. For example, this Sunday we will be having a test of science and technology. So Monday to Friday I will be taking notes and revising the things from science and technology. And Saturday I will be taking two tests of science and technology by any other academies, so that I get a prior understanding of the major things by studying answer keys, etc. So the test will be very interesting on Sunday. So for every subject, I would be taking 3 sectional tests during the prelims. For almost all the subjects, I would be taking minimum 3 sectional tests, and maximum it will go nearly 6 to 7 sectional test for each subject, because for geography and all I was very weak. So I took nearly 10 to 12 sectional tests for both geography, Indian geography and world geography, so that I made sure that I encounter maximum number of questions from geography and made notes out of these things. So that was one step of my preparation, while I took nearly sectional test to altogether the sectional test I took nearly 70 to 80 tests of different academies of different subjects were taken by me, and notes were prepared from the answer key. That was one thing that was different from my earlier failed prelims attempts. So I have studied all the subjects. I have made notes of all the subjects. In my first prelims and all, I had a tendency of skipping subjects because I found it difficult to study geography. So I skipped the geography part altogether. So that created a very problematic less scoring there, because I thought that I would be getting marks in polity, economy, environment, and also modern history. But at that point in time, in the 2021 examination, the number of modern history questions were less. So that actually torpedoed all my plans. So first thing that I would like to say to all the people is that there is nothing called we can study 4 or 5 subjects and crack the prelims. It is important to study each and every subject. So that's very important. So that's about my content part and the mock test part and the preliminary examination. And also there was another program in lead called UPSC Classics, where the SAR will be guiding us through the 2016 to 2025, 2015 to 24 question papers. The previous year prelims question papers, GS question papers of the UPSC examination. So again, following that particular thing, that program, he'll be giving assignments of the PYQ based core areas. I made an assignment, I made a comprehensive note of nearly 450 topics that were asked in the UPSC. I'll be sharing that with you. I have a Telegram channel, Sidharth Joy AR271. In that particular channel, I'll be sharing that note also. So nearly 400. It's a 175 page long note which I have prepared from the PYQ. So that also helped me in setting up enough and more content for my prelims, the qualified prelims. Before that, I was not doing anything related to that, but this attempt I have made notes from the PYQs, nearly 175 pages and 400 plus topics of PYQ importance were prepared by me. That was something that helped me in a lot of ways. And also one important thing for those who are attending prelims this year, I would say that for the last 10 days, for example, this year's prelims is in May 24, from May 14 to May 23, I think you can follow the last 20-25 years of UPSC question papers. I have bought a book by Disha, the compilation of the prelims question papers from the last 20-25 years. So I identified the most difficult subjects, like medieval history was a difficult subject for me. Geography was a difficult subject for me. Science and tech and environment was somewhat unpredictable. So I took the subject-wise compilation. So I would be taking medieval history from 2000 to 2025. All the questions are given there. So I'll be solving that question and I'll be reading the explanation of that question. If I see that the explanation of that question is insufficient in the Disha textbook, I'll be taking any of the other material that I have referred to study the subject. So this helped me in qualifying the prelims. This has two-sided advantage. One thing is that this will streamline our preparation for the last 10 days to the most important areas of UPSC prelims, because we are just following the PYQs. And the second thing is that this will also help us to get a touch with the UPSC's preliminary and question construction and vocabulary. So we can apply the extreme statements, logical elimination, word deconstruction methods, etc. there by following the 20-25 years of PYQ questions. So this is the strategy that I've employed in my prelims. I will summarize it for you. The most important thing was the preparation of content during the sectional test. I will be studying the materials like Lakshmikant, etc. because I don't have any written notes. I am not a person who prepare notes from the books and read my own notes. I had it was easy for me to read the books rather than making note of it my own, because I thought that it would be time consuming, and I am a person who is not interested in reading my own handwriting. So I followed the textbooks for the content preparation before the examination. And after the exam, I would make digital notes out of the answer keys of the academies. It is because it is very profitable for time also. Because if I can copy paste the content from the answer keys of the academies, there is no point in writing down all the answers and all. So I thought it is easy to copy paste the points from the answer key. Only the points that I think that I would be I won't be able to recollect. And the points which I think that are against my logical thinking were selected by me and copy pasted in a separate subject based document in order to revise it for the final lab. So that was my prelims preparations content part, and I took nearly more than 60 sectional tests, and again nearly 40 full test before the examination, so that it helps me in framing the the prelims preparation. The question, this question solving methods of prelims preparation. I took the Vision Abhyas, but my Vision Abhyas rank was nearly 1,500 or 3,000. So in that sense, so I don't. You can take mock test, but don't think that mock test assessment is purely correct and it will reflect in your prelims examination. It is not like that. There can be differences, because last year I didn't have any of the test series where I score nearly more than 110 or 15. Only in some of the sectional tests like polity, where I have a advantage because very strong subjects, I got nearly 120, 120 plus. But last year's prelims examination, I got 116 marks. 116 marks for the GS paper and 124 for the CSAT paper. So I always believe that there is no need of thinking that the mock test mark will completely replicate in the UPSC examination. It is not like that, because for the last 10 days we are taking the PYQ, we are improving ourselves, which will be helpful in improving our answers. So I think that is something there. And coming to CSAT, CSAT is very important thing, and I think many of you have concerns related to CSAT also. Coming to CSAT, I had a strength in CSAT because my subject was English. My subject was English, so reading comprehension was my strong area. So I identified reading comprehension as my strong area, and I thought that it would be it would be beneficial for me if I take all the comprehension questions. So whenever I got a CSAT paper, I would look for a very easy max questions like direction, blood relation, or fill in the blanks. Such kind of questions will be searched by me, and then I do the most easiest max the easiest max questions that I can do within 10 minutes, and I will take the next 1 hour, nearly 1 hour for all the comprehension questions. Among the 25 to 28 comprehension questions, I used to get more than 22 right answers. So that would take me to nearly 50 marks, which is a very safe place to land, because I have already done 3 to 4 easy max questions. So I would be nearly nearing the cutoff mark of 66.66 by 1 hours 15 minutes, and I had 45 minutes to solve the rest of the difficult max questions. So I identified, because even in 2023, when the question paper was very difficult, without knowing the basics of probability and permutation combination, I was able to get more than 90 marks. So it is only that we are getting tensed out of the CSAT examination and we are spoiling our paper. We should wait. We should patiently identify the most easy questions and the important things where we can score, and just do that questions at first, so that we arrive at a safer margin in CSAT, and rest of the things it is manageable in my opinion. So this is related to my prelims preparation. We'll come to the more detailed discussion regarding prelims from questions. And next thing is definitely mains. My optional subject was Malayalam literature, and I don't think that many of the people watching the live would be selecting Malayalam literature. But my selection was Malayalam literature, because I come from a literature background of English literature, and I had an interest in the Malayalam literature subject also, because my research and project etc. were on Malayalam cultural history. So that is why I took Malayalam literature. But other than that, I will speak about the general studies papers of my preparation. And for the general studies papers, I had my history of answer writing begins again from my PCM course lead IAS, where we had different programs of improving answer writing during the PCM classes itself. So I had a basic understanding, because at first I had a tendency to overwrite. I was writing in paragraphs, so my mentors trimmed it down to bullet points. The length of my points were reduced to 2 lines. The way of underlining were changed. Example highlighting was given prominence. So in that sense, I had a basic understanding of the answer writing from the programs there, and also I have also joined for a repeaters program there. It is called Bounce Back, where we would be writing a mains test each week, subject-based mains test each week, and that mentor also helped me in getting some of the fine content. So before, even after the completion of prelims, I had an idea of mains answer writing. So then starting preparation, I followed majorly the materials from different academies of Trivandrum and Delhi. Some compilations were taken related to GS1, GS2, GS3, etc. So especially for these years, GS4, I have a slightly different opinion. So we'll come to that. And coming to these three things, GS1, GS2, GS3, I tried to collect as many examples as possible from newspaper and other materials. I would be collecting examples or data which will be helpful in application in more than one answer scenario. For example, the water scarcity of India can be applied in GS1 and GS3. Again, the internal security challenge of India can be taken and written in GS2 and GS3. And the historical significance of India can be again taken both in society questions as well as history questions. So in that sense, think for high value examples and high value data rather than mindlessly collecting everything that comes in newspaper. Just think about the things which can be applied in more than one answers or more than one scenario, more than one subject or more than one GS paper. So in that sense was my GS preparation. Even my GS marks are not that good. I got 91 marks for GS1. I got 104 marks for GS2 and 79 marks for GS3. The maximum number of marks I got was for the ethics examination. Ethics, I had a slightly different preparation. Rather than following materials, I was completely following the answer writing for ethics. I was focusing on that. I was collecting the ethics keywords. I was brainstorming maximum number of ethics keywords, ethical problems, ethical values, ethical examples, etc. Nearly 50 to 60 ethical values, 50 to 60 ethical problems, and 50 to 60 ethical examples were collected by me, so that I would be able to mix and match all these examples, names, and scenarios in different kind of answers in ethics. And along with that, I've also made a list of the theories related to ethics. There are many ethical theories that can be applied in many places. So I took note of such theories also, and I was focusing completely on answer writing for ethics rather than building up content for ethics, because in ethics content does not work. Content or example does not work. It is always about the vocabulary that we use. It is always about the words that we use in the answer paper. So for that, I was preparing that particular strategy. And the another thing which helped me in qualifying the examination is my essay paper. For essay paper, I have 116 marks, so I can share the strategy for everyone. In an essay paper, we should think about making our paper different. Not different in the way that we are deviating ourselves from the topic, but in a way where our essays stand out. So whenever I got a philosophical topic, I would think about the arguments related to a topic. For example, this year there was a topic like luxury is artificial poverty. We always have a tendency to write about luxury as and always poverty. In essay, we will structure our paragraphs in a way that economically, socially, historically, we always have a static frameworks there. But don't write that, because that will be too mechanical. Everybody will understand that we are not writing in a very organic manner. So I always thought that when I get a thing like luxury is an artificial poverty, so I would think, why is luxury artificial poverty? So the why part, the arguments to substantiate that is important. So the more than example, the arguments that we put forth for the essay are very important. And that is something that we can structure the essay in a very comprehensive manner. That's one thing. And second thing, coming to the language is very important for us. So I made use of the generative AI platforms like ChatGPT. I would be writing a paragraph in my own language, which is not that good, but in an average to above average language, I would write a paragraph on a topic, and I would ask ChatGPT, rewrite this particular paragraph poetically for UPSC essay paper, so that they will give a more nuanced and refined version of that. Then I will internalize all these paragraphs given by the ChatGPT. And internalizing this paragraphs, gradually after internalizing, we will get the sentence structure, we will get the basic understanding of coming up with good aesthetic and artistic paragraphs in the UPSC essay. I think that is something that has helped me in getting good marks in the essay paper. And introduction and conclusion are also very important. And I don't follow the anecdotal introduction platform. I mean anecdotal introduction method. I usually begin with a general introduction and then give the anecdote. So such kind of things can be experimented in the essay program, so that you will get good marks in the essay. So this was my major understanding about the examination. The major content that I looked for the mains examination was the notes given by lead IAS and the answer keys by many of the academies here. I have looked for the answer keys of Fortune IAS, Island IAS, and lead IAS from Trivandrum, and also the Vision IAS, Vajaram, etc. answer keys and mains compilations from Delhi. These were the materials that were followed by me. And again, for geography also, if the one of the material that I forgot to say was the GC Leong. The GC Leong book was very helpful in understanding the climatic regions and the other kind of things related to geography. So that was another book that helped me in prelims and mains. This was my book list. Almost these things were used by me. The materials given by the different academies, the compilations by Vision, Vajaram, etc. were used, and also the content that I've prepared from the newspaper the previous year for the mains examination were also helpful in getting up with good content. But again, my preparation is not something that is very great because I have only 390 marks in the GS examination. I qualified with the marks in essay. I had 116 marks in the essay. So this is something that has helped me in qualifying the mains. And coming to interview is again something that was very important because I got 215 marks for the interview. That is something that made me into the rank list. Without a good interview score, I wouldn't have been in the rank list. I had the Dinesh Dasa's board. The board was very cordial. And before speaking about the board, I will speak about my preparation for the interview. For the interview, I had a background of public speaking, elocution, and debates. But that was the most challenging part also because whenever I started a mock interview, the interview was or the panel, the board had a uh, had a perception that I was debating with them. I was arguing with them. So many of my mentors has asked me to reduce my aggression, to be more polite. So first important thing that I was doing was that I was trying to speak as polite as I can. So speaking politely was something that reducing the aggression, reducing the voice, making it into a more conversational tone, etc. were the first things that were focused by me. So my speaking style, I tried to come up with a more informal, more personal, more formal, more personal way of what conversations was built. And second thing was related to the content. I had a peer group of we four of us were there. We would be having a 1 hour long peer group discussion for the interview. That we'll be speaking about a current affair. We'll be preparing a current affair from the newspaper for the next day, and we'll be presenting that. So that helps us in getting confidence in speaking in English. That's one thing. Second thing, we are studying a particular current affairs aspect. And the third thing is that when the other people are asking about questions about this current affairs, we'll also get an opportunity to uh, think more critically about the things. Then we will also have a mock interview where three of my friends will be sitting before me. They will be asking questions from DAF, from current affairs, from newspaper, from subject. So such different kinds of methods were adopted for peer mocks. That's one method of preparation. And the second thing was that I comprehensively made questions related to many of the things. My state, Kerala, my district, Quellam, my subject, English language, my optional Malayalam language, my father's job, my mother's job, my achievements. I had many keywords like Nagaland was there in my DAF, RBA was there in my DAF, NSS was there in my DAF, public speaking was there in my DAF. So such kind of things. I made many number of questions and prepared. We can use generative AI for preparing questions. We can use generative AI for refining our answers in a more polite and formal manner. So these things were adopted by me for the interview preparation. And again, also I also took part in many of the group discussions conducted by the academy, so that we get an idea about multiple people's perspective of different subjects. And again, coming to panel mocks, I took nearly 10 to 12 panel mocks, 6 in Trivandrum and 6 in Delhi. I took almost all the panel mocks by, I took the panel mock by Vision, Vajaram, PW Only IAS, Sankalp IAS, Vajirao IAS, etc. in Delhi. And next IAS in Delhi. And also in Trivandrum, I took from Lead IAS, Fortune, Island, Amrita IAS, the Kerala Government State Civil Service Academy, and Pathways Academy. So I've taken mock interviews from almost all the academies. But I would say that rather than taking panel mocks, the most important thing is that taking down the questions from the panel mocks and trying to rephrase and come up with good answers for the next panel mock. So that will show us a gradual improvement from one panel to other. And also I have took nearly 100 one-on-one sessions with the faculties from different parts of India, from Bangalore, from Chennai, from Delhi, from Hyderabad, different parts of India. I have taken panel, one-on-one session with different mentors, so that it gets a very wider perception of the things that are happening around, because everybody will be having something to ask. It is in a similar way also. We are facing a panel where there are 5 to 6 people who are from different backgrounds and different subjects also. So they will be asking different things. So in order to get an exposure to that, we should be exposed to different kind of questions and perceptions from different parts. So my interview preparation was threefold. One, focusing on the content from the newspaper and the materials and discussing it with friends. So they will be preparing something for me and I will be preparing something for them. So that was one thing. And second thing was panel mock, facing a panel with confidence, as well as taking down questions from there and coming with better answers. And the third was one-on-one session with the different mentors. So this was my preparation. And my interview was more or less very comfortable, because whenever I entered, I came as a fifth person of the group of 6. And when at the moment I entered, he asked me to introduce myself. I introduced myself to Dinesh Dasa sir. Dinesh Dasa sir took a glance of the my DAF and identified that, oh, you are a public speaker. So now you should speak as if you are representing India in the 2047 World Economic Forum, Davos Summit. So he asked me to stand up and go behind the chair. I went behind the chair and started speaking. So in the meanwhile, he changed topics. He asked me to begin with the economic development part. When I started speaking on economic development, he asked me speak about the international relation, then neighborhood relation, then specifically about Pakistan. So he was changing. So I was also enjoying. While he was changing, I didn't take much time. Spontaneously, I was trying to go with the flow. I think that is something that has impressed them also. And then there was questions about Kerala's administrative changes, differences, what things from Kerala can be implemented in other parts of India. Then there was 2 random questions, which I said, I don't know. For the same panel member, he asked me 2 questions. One was related to Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar Islands, and one question was related to a dynasty, a historical dynasty, which was from Karnataka. I didn't know. I said, I don't know. And that was perfectly fine. And again, also the next person asked me about military diplomacy, unemployment, etc. And there was 2 points where the interview panel members made a slightly funny remarks. I also replied funny. I also gave some funny replies to because they enjoyed that. So it made it a more conversation exchange. So which I think has resulted in the good score like 215 in the interview. So this is my general journey of my preparation related to the examination. So next thing, I will be giving some of the understandings or ideas about the examination in general for the people who are attending the examination for the first time, or who are planning to attend the examination in the near future. As you know, this is a 3-tier examination. We have a preliminary examination, a mains examination, and a personality test, as I have mentioned right now. And the preliminary examination is a 2-paper structure, where we have a GS paper. The general studies paper consists of different subjects like politics, geography, history, economy, science and technology, environment, world affairs, etc. And the second paper is a qualifying paper, because it is English comprehension as well as maths paper, where we should have to score only 66.66 marks out of 200. So this is the structure, and these marks will not be counted for any of the future discussions. So the prelim score is just qualifying. If we have a scores above certain threshold in the GS paper of the prelims, we will be qualifying the examination. We will be writing the mains. Mains is somewhat physically and mentally torturing, because we have 9 papers which should be written back to back within a span of 5 days. Friday we begin with an essay paper, and Saturday and Sunday we have 4 GS papers, and then we have 5-day break, and the next Saturday Sunday we again have 4 papers. All papers for nearly 250 to 300 marks. So we'll be continuously writing for nearly 27 hours. 27 hours continuous writing descriptive examination. So that is again a physical task. I had a difficulty in writing, because I didn't complete my GS1 paper as well as my optional paper 2. I have left nearly 1 question each in both these papers. So after that, the 9 papers. Coming to the 9 papers, we have an essay paper. That's the first paper. Essay paper is general for everybody. You can write an essay either in English or in Hindi. and the next 4 GS papers are also common for every people. And the next Sunday morning we are writing an English paper, which is common for every people. And at that afternoon we'll be writing a paper on the regional language. I was writing in Malayalam, and many people are writing in Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, or any other regional language of India can be taken for that. 10th level competency is enough for qualifying that exam, because that mark in English and regional language is not counted for your rank. It is just for qualifying. Out of 300 we should get 100 or something for that 2 papers. And the final day will be your optional papers, where we'll be writing whichever optional. You can take any subject as optional that is given in the UPSC application form. My optional was Malayalam literature. There are people, most number of people are taking, I think, political science and international relation. Then sociology is there. Then anthropology, public administration, etc. are there. Now there are also people who are taking medicine, engineering, mathematics, etc. from different backgrounds. So subject of your interest can be taken. But before choosing optional, 4 things. I always say to all people that you should have 4 things in mind before choosing optional. The first thing is that your interest in the subject, because I always say to people that choosing a optional subject is like choosing your partner. Compatibility is very important, because we are in a journey of 2 to 3 years. I took it 5 years. So throughout this journey we should be studying this subject, and we get nearly 500 marks from this, the 2 papers of this subject. So we have to take eager note of our interest in this subject. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, the second most important thing is scoreability, because there are many optional subjects where we cannot score beyond 250, and that is very dangerous also. We need more than 250 for sure, but more than 270 marks are expected in the GS paper to qualify the exam, in the optional paper to qualify the exam. I had only 255 marks, but I had good marks in interview and essay, which helped me in overcoming the mark shortage in the optional subject. So the marks is the second thing that we should think about. And the third important thing is the mentorship, guidance, and material availability of an optional subject. So think or search for the materials and guidance for your optional subject before you choose. And the final important thing will be the topper's answer copy availability, and the understanding about answer writing. If you don't know how to write an answer of your optional subject, if you don't know the method in which you can get good marks for your optional subject, then that is, we are taking a risk, or we are experimenting with our 500 marks. So that is also something that is not advisable. So these 4 points should be kept in your mind before choosing your optional subject. And coming to the third stage, it is personality test. It is for 275 marks. There will be 10 different boards consisting of 5 members. The board chair will be a UPSC member. So they will ask about anything and everything that can be given to you, your detailed application form, and also the current affairs part, your graduation part, general subjects, logical questions, etc. can be asked in the personality test also. So this is my understanding and my explanation to those people who are trying to write the examination in the next few years. So we have also received some of the questions from the organizers. So I'll be taking that questions right now. Okay, let me look for the questions. Okay. 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 Okay, I'll be taking up the questions that were given to me from the organizers part, which was collected. Selection reaction. Okay. Mains I have talked. Optional subject I have already spoken. Answer writing. Okay, answer writing practice. Coming to answer writing practice, I followed the timetable prepared by the lead IAS because we had a program of daily answer writing. In the evening, 6 o'clock, we will be assembling in an hall and we'll be writing the answers for 5 PYQ questions will be given by our sir. We'll be writing the answers, and then he will also share his ideas of how to craft an answer with the minimal content. So that was my answer writing practice because I have written all the attended all the nearly 60 sessions with 5 questions. So 300 questions, 300 PYQs was discussed in the that particular program from where I got an idea about writing an answer in a better manner. So that is something that I took for answer writing, and also I have attempted all the tests by lead IAS. They will give detailed mentorship regarding the question structuring. So they had a seal, the stamping of core part missed. So there will be the answer will be divided into a core part and also a auxiliary part or the supporting part. And there was a very eager necessity to address all the core parts of the examination. So a mentor will say the core part of the question is not addressed, so you have to address the core part. So such things were done for answer writing, improving answer writing. And coming to the structure of an answer, we usually have a tendency to follow the classical frameworks like political, social, economical. Try to make a difference there. Try to come up with different type. For example, if a question is asked about a scheme, think about from a stakeholder perspective. For example, a scheme would definitely have a government perspective. It would have a beneficiary perspective. It would have a finance minister perspective. I mean, finance department perspective. It would have a women perspective. So in that sense, whenever a question is asked, try to break down the question into different frameworks rather than mechanically applying the things in your mind. We can come up with a very, for example, if a question is asked about agriculture, we can also write about different steps in agriculture, a step-wise framework. For example, during the time of sowing, during the time of cultivation, during the time of marketing. So in that sense, a timeline-based framework can also be used in many of the answers. So try to diversify the frameworks of thought. Try to diversify the structure of answer that you are presenting rather than following the age-old style of social, economical, political, legal, science. So that's something that everybody would write. So we have to come up with differences also. And second most important thing that I've learned from answer writing was the importance of figures. The kind of figures, the maps are very important in history and geography. In GS1, nearly 20 questions were there. I have drawn maps for nearly 10 questions. 10 questions, I have more than 10, I think I have drawn maps. For example, even for the question related to Akbar's administrative change, I've drawn a map. So maps are very important in GS1. Coming to GS2, it is an analytical paper, so it's always good to have table-based analysis. Tables are very important in GS2 because there will be cause-effect relationship. So I think GS2 presentation can be improved by using tables and such kind of thing. And GS3, I think data are important. So data can be expressed in graphs, pie diagrams, etc. So I have included many graphs and diagrams in throughout my question papers, but I got only low marks. But I think using graphs, data, and examples, we can get good marks in GS3. GS4 is again we have lesser opportunity in bringing up figures there, but also there also we can use sun diagrams, tables, charts, etc. for presenting our views regarding the presenting our views regarding different ethical conflicts and questions. So this is my basic understanding about the mains answers. And mains answer frame, answer writing practice, multi-dimensional answer. Yes, multi-dimensional answers are very important because as many dimensions should be addressed. For example, the social, political, economical angles is something that we can address, but not in a very direct manner. We can take the opportunities in a very slightly different perspective, thinking about from the perspective of stakeholders, process-based framework, such kind of different thinking modes can be used. For example, you can take the example from your ChatGPT or any other generative AI can be used by giving a question. You can ask which all different ways that can I structure the frameworks of this particular question. So such kind of prompt will give you a idea about wide variety of answer writing frameworks. UPSC PYQs are very important. PYQs are very important for prelims and mains. Prelims, it helps us to understand the vocabulary and logic of the UPSC PYQ prelims, and mains it helps us to gather the most important content, because mains is more predictable than prelims. Mains, there are certain themes that would definitely be there. For example, the welfare of marginalized sections like women, SC, ST, OBC, etc., can be elderly children, etc., can be asked in the GS1 paper. That's sure. And again, the alternate dispute resolution mechanisms is something that would definitely be asked in GS2. GS3, there will be questions related to the space missions or science and technology related questions. So there are more predictable themes in mains than prelims. So I think PYQ understanding is very important. UPSC, okay. Questions, theme, repeat, interview board or interview panel. I think interview panel is very coded. All panels are very coded. The only thing is that we have to engage them with a very lively and interesting manner. If we are underconfident, that will definitely affect our performance. If you're overconfident, that will also affect our performance. Be polite but confident. Polite but confident. That should be our motto. We should be polite, but we should be confident, because if we are not confident, we are giving very short answers, it will be like a question answer session. So they will ask more number of questions. There is a high possibility that we will be getting into trouble, into unknowing questions. And also at the same time, we cannot give very elongated unending answers also, because that will expose our knowledge limitation in many things. And there is also a possibility that we will speak a contradictory or controversial point during our presentation, and the interview board will take note of that, and they will ask more controversial things where we won't be able to answer. So make concise but clear. So that concise but clear, polite but confident. These are the two things that we should keep in mind while attending an interview. And some of the panel mocks are very grilling, but I don't think the UPSC board is grilling. They are very cordial, they are very friendly, they are just trying to understand ourselves. So it is our it is always important to think it in a way that we are going to take some 200 marks of ours within them. So we want to take that mark. So if we want to take that marks, we should impress them. So think about the ways in which we can impress them so that they give maximum marks to us. Interview dress code, it's of course formal. There are many people, those who don't wear a tie and going, that's also fine. But I didn't have the courage to take a risk, so I wore a tie, I wore a suit, and I wore a very new official formal shoes also. So that was my attire. And clean shave also. I took it. I took my the photo in the poster. You have all seen that. The poster is something that that was my look for the interview. Interview experience, I told service profile, work responsibility. My first choice was Indian Administrative Service, but I won't be getting that. By the rank 271, I think I would be getting Indian Revenue Service Income Tax. So book materials and sources I have sought. UPSC government websites useful. PIB is very useful. PIB can be taken as a very good source where we can understand many things about the budget as well as the government schemes. They are very useful in the framing the main answers also. PIB, the materials, language, points, data from PIB can be very useful while writing the mains, and also PRS also related to legislations and parliamentary proceedings. PRS is another website which is very helpful. Toposcopy analysis was very helpful, because toposcopy it helped in getting some of the examples and ethical theories, etc., from the topos answer copies. That's one thing. And the second most important thing is that the figures, the different type of flow charts, figures, diagrams, maps that they use, we can copy that. We can copy that to our answer. So in that sense, the topos copies act themselves as a material where we can do the content enrichment. Notes, textbooks, NCRT, current affairs. I've said that. Newspaper, yeah, importance. Newspaper is something that you should read. But if you're not getting time, just try to make a 15 to 20 minutes. Put the stopwatch and try to make it a habit. Gradually, you will increase the reading speed, and we will be able to finish the newspaper by 30 minutes. So in beginning, we will develop the patience to read newspaper by placing a 15 to 20 minute timer to track our preparation. Magazines are not that important, but if we can read magazines for developing perspective and analytical thinking, like Yojana and Kurukshetra will give you a development perspective from the part of government. Frontline or the economic and political view weekly will help us to get a critical viewpoint of the policies. So such kind of original articles and original content can be helpful at times, but there is no man that they are not mandatory. So don't waste your time taking excessive time in reading all those magazines, but take a limited time to take the value addition content from all these magazines. UPSC coaching, as I have said earlier, UPSC coaching is not again a mandatory thing, but the thing is that we should have a control of the point to which we should study and the points that we should definitely study. So setting up the limit of study is something that what makes change in our preparation. Questions, the motivation. So the motivation, the primary motivation was from my parents. They are, even though they are not all India service officers, they are in the state service. So I have seen that how they can help the people. So I aimed for a higher service. That was my first motivation. Again, as I said earlier, I have written the examination for my senior. So his success also helped me in improving my aspiration for the examination. And daily motivation was that I would binge watch the toppers interview videos. I've watched almost all the toppers from Kerala, their videos, their testimonials, etc. So that it helped me in motivating myself even after my 3 continuous failures in the examination. Social media use, we should control social media use, because during the time of prelims, I have cut social media for 2 months. Only 2 months. I have limited my social media usage, and even during the time of mains, also I have deactivated my Insta, etc. I was using WhatsApp and Telegram for the preparation and communication purpose. Almost all other platforms were shut down. Uh, I prepared mostly offline in from Trivandrum, but I also took some online classes during my interview preparation and all. Other than that, I took offline classes, and maps. Maps were something that I faced very difficulty, but I took some YouTube videos and sessions exclusively for mapping, and I took my atlas with me, and I read a PMF to track India's map. And in other ways, I took the current affairs updation classes from Lead IAS, iLearn, etc. to understand the mapping procedure. And that is, but last year also the maps question were very difficult, so I left that question. So plan B, plan B is very important for UPSC preparation, as we know. I had a plan B of getting into a college teacher position, so I was doing my PhD there, and also I was writing for the Kerala Public Service Commission examinations. I was working as an assistant at the government secretariat. It is a clerical post, entry level clerical post. During the time of my mains, I mean 2025 2025 attempt, I was working in the state service, but I was on a long leave of 10 months for writing the examination. Distractions and distractions are very difficult things, because we know in the age of reels, social media, distraction is a very common thing. So focus is a luxury, so we should try ourselves to focus. I used Pomodoro timer to manage my timing. I took the digital well-being tool to reduce my screen timing. I also tried to change my phone into an old Nokia model phone during the time of prelims to reduce the screen time. These were the things that I was done by me, and I also had a tendency of preparing a chart and timetable, so that I was just ticking the things that complete, because for a day I will be setting up 6 or 7 tasks, and whenever I complete that task, I will put a tick mark. So in that sense, I was also tracking my performance, which helped me in reducing distractions. So these are the questions that were given to me by the different aspirants through the official channel. So I think I will look for the questions in here also. I took nearly 1 hour for saying. So the final thing will be attending the questions in the comment box. So I will take the next 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll wind up the session by 7:30. which book covered the environment. Ayush Pandey asked about the environment. As I said, I was looking for the PMFIA's environment book, but selective reading. For example, I would be reading the chapters on environmental concepts and theories because they are very important. But for the organizations and all, I followed the most important organizations that appear in the current affairs and the newspaper. So that was my strategy for environment. And I also took nearly 6 to 7 environment tests also. Beginner, how to start the journey by Koil Devnath. Koil, I have spoken it about already. If you are attending the college, you can start reading the syllabus. Just go through the syllabus, prelims and main syllabus, PYQ, understand the things that you should study. When understanding the concepts from the syllabus and PYQ, try to find out the news related to that from the newspaper, which will help us which will help you in getting a very basic understanding from the develop the understanding of current affairs from the newspaper. Okay, then Ayush, minimum source. I think I have talked about only the minimum sources. There are very bulky sources, but try to limit your reading. So use syllabus and PYQ as a parameter or as a yardstick to measure the preparation depth, the content depth and breadth. So for college students and how to start and where to start, the best time to start your UPSC preparation is now. Wherever are you, even if you are in school, even if you are in college, even if you are graduated, even if you are working, don't wait for a right time to begin. You can begin your preparation right now, but in a different pace or a preparation manner according to your age. For school students and college students, I say understand the syllabus, think about the examination, and also start reading newspaper. That is very important. For college going people or those who are planning to write the exam in 2027, this is the right time where you can decide your optional subject, whether to take a PCM coaching or not. So that are the major decisions that you should be taking in this manner. Sir, please make it comprehensive. I think I have made it as comprehensive as I can. My 50-50 prelims questions are turning out to be very wrong. 50-50 questions. Saroj, whenever there is a 50-50 question goes wrong in your preparation, the reason is revision. So you should take note. While attempting a prelims test series, I always kept a log book where I entered how many questions that I have made it wrong by my negligence, and how many questions due to lack of revision, and how many questions due to lack of conceptual clarity and lack of content. So these 4 parameters should be assessed. If we are getting many questions wrong due to our negligence, we should be more careful in attempting the examination. If we are getting more questions due to our conceptual clarity or revision, we should improve our revision. And for knowledge, we should improve reading. And also, I prepared a second list where I would prepare the topics for the examination, and I would say put a tick mark if I am making something wrong in a question paper. For example, if from parliament, take the topic parliament for polity. If I made a question wrong from parliament, I will be putting a mark there. So I will study parliament again, and again in the next test, if I am making parliament wrong again, I will put a wrong mark there. If there is a 3 to 4 wrong marks against a particular topic, that shows that I have difficulty in that particular area, so I should focus more on that. So during the time of mock test, you should identify the areas where you make repetitive mistakes and then revise them properly so that you can reduce the 50-50 wrong phenomenon. Lots of self-doubt, not able to study, can't score marks above 15 prelims. Adam, try to understand where do we go wrong. Like as I've said earlier, try to understand whether is it the revision, negligence, or conceptual clarity. If we are getting more wrong on the lack of knowledge part, we have to study so that you can take a break for 1 year, and then like me, I have taken a break in 2024. I took time from 2023 to 2025 for preparing for the examination. 2 years for preparing the basic content and all. So such kind of methods can be adopted. I have a poor English both in communication and theory. For me, it is difficult to clear without good English. I don't think that English is necessary in any point of the examination. We need a good writing skill during the essay part. So we have to work on essay specifically for improving English. And then there is a compulsory English paper, which is a 10th level English paper. Everybody can qualify 100 marks in that without much preparation. And in interview also, there is a privilege where we can speak either in English or in our local language, let that be Hindi or let that be Malayalam. We can attend the interview with the help of a translator also. So there is no such a rule that without good English we can qualify. So that's we if you need some help, and also try to develop the habit of reading newspaper, watching English videos, podcast, all India radio news. Try to speak before the mirror. Such methods can be adopted in improving your English skills. Is it true that science and tech and environment is mostly related to current affairs? Yes. Science and tech and environment questions are mostly triggered from current affairs, but the questions asked will be basically related to the fundamental concepts. So even if you see a particular angle, for example, questions won't be asked about the who got Nobel Prize, or the which invention got Nobel Prize, but there can be questions about the application and fundamental scientific concept of that particular invention. So it is in that manner where questions are being asked in science and tech and environment. How do you frame your main answers? I think I have already answered that questions. Now, did you name? Okay. We need to go through NCRT if we are doing. Yes, you can go through the NCRT. NCRT can be, for example, when we are going for coaching, we are already graduated students. We have 5 years more than the 10th standard or 12th standard kids, so that you can read the books like reading comic books. NCRT books are so simple. So just read it during your break time, but just make sure that if at all you are encountering something that you have not studied, you can make notes out of that. For college student, I have answered the question. Means answers. How to frame means answers, science and tech environment. Answers, material, I said. Third year, Angelus College, finishing college, take homework to Sachin, you can make your own decision, whichever is comfortable. I am a person who is comfortable with offline classes and offline coaching. So just think about your priorities. If you need to be in Delhi for offline coaching, which is something that makes you more helpful for the preparation, I think you can follow that. If it is not like that, you can choose online coaching if you are a person who is very comfortable in your home studying through online. Did you make notes out of these books? No, I didn't make notes out of the books. I just underlined the important things in the books. I made note from the answer keys, so that almost all the important things were there in the answer key based notes. Many of my notes, the notes that I made for Indian economy and world affairs, have already shared in my Telegram channel. I'll be sharing my other notes also there. It is Sidharth Joy, AR271. For PYQ, how to go through, suppose for fundamental rights as an example. For PYQ, I use the book by Disha, where the fundamental rights PYQs are compiled at a place there. So I'll be attempting the question PYQ. If I get right, I just glance through the explanation. If I get wrong there, I'll be reading the explanation. If I'm not satisfied with that explanation, I will go back to Lakshmika and read that particular question. In that ways, I made use of the PYQ for the last 10 days. Insta, sorry, Telegram. I am not able to pin my Telegram. I'll just put that in my chat. I think it will be good. How many hours to study? That's also a very personal question, because I am a person who cannot sit more than 6 to 7 hours for studies. But I will make sure, sir, even if I am sitting for 6 to 7 hours, I make sure that every minute of that time is used for studies. Minimizing my distraction, I'll be putting my phone somewhere there. I'll be setting up goals. If I am I will be setting up goals like I'll read 10 pages on one go. I'll read the 10 pages and then only I will take a break. So that is the method in which I usually studies. Okay, I have put the link of my Telegram channel in the comments. If at all anybody is interested, you can use the. For how to start and from where to study English, I have already answered that question. One subject, one source is enough. Yes, more than enough. One subject, one source. Most of the sources cover it comprehensively. If at all one source lacks somewhere, you can use the BYQ or mock interview question, mock test question papers and answer keys to fill that gap. All I shortlisted object current graduation, commerce, history, and Tamil literature. How can I finalize my optional? Surya, I have already mentioned about the 4 important parameters or yardsticks you should take in note of while choosing optional: interest of the subject, scoreability, the material, mentorship and guidance, and 4 answer writing practice. So this 4 should have 4 should be given priority. So think about history is something very, there is guidance, material, coaching and answers are available. Tamil literature and commerce, I am not aware about the depth in detail. But maybe Tamil literature, there are people, I guess. I have seen people at the interview board with Tamil literature. I am 12th from Max Field. I want to prepare for the examination along with BTech. How should I prepare for Arth? You can start preparing by by start reading newspaper, understanding the syllabus and PYQ, so that you can prepare for the examination in the longer future. So just start reading newspaper by using syllabus and PYQ as pointers to identify the relevant news. Is it necessary to make daily notes from Hindu newspapers? It is not necessary, but for the prelims, I think you can make identify the topics relevant for prelims and make notes. That is something very important. And coming to other things in newspaper, if you think that there is a data or there is a point or perspective that would be very helpful for a preparation, you can take notes. It's good. It's good to have note if you can revise that note towards the end. How you study while working as a secretariat assistant? During my working days, I went to my reading room. I had a study hall, so I went to the reading room after 5:30 after the working hours, and I spend time there till 12:31, so that I get enough time. Sometimes I will come home and get ready and go back. That again, I'll be reaching there by 7:30 or 8. Then I will be sitting there till 1. But for the major parts, as soon as the prelims test series got started, I took a long leave of 1 year to prepare for the exam. Which NCRT is to be preferred, new or old one? Arya, I have mentioned the names of NCRT. I'm not sure whether they are old or new. R past 1, R past 2, R past 3 for the history, and fundamentals of physical geography, India physical environment for geography, macroeconomics for economics, and Indian Constitution Act for Indian polity. Simanshu, my first attempt is in 2029. When I have to start answer writing? If you are attempting 2029 prelims, you have to start answer writing by 2028 June. 2028 June. And you can structure it in such a way that 2028 June to 2028 November, you focus on your mains and optional. From 2029 December to 2029 May, 2028 December to 2029 May, focus on your prelims. And after prelims, we can focus on the mains again. My optional paper was Malayalam literature. Does NCRT of all subjects from 6 to 12 are important? I have answered the question all again. The important NCRTs are here. And even if we are facing a difficulty in some of the NCRT text, understanding the concepts given there, you can go for the basic things. I wrote anything is not clear and my handwriting is not good. If your handwriting is not good, that does not reflect in the examination. Just make it more legible. It should be readable. Other than, there is no need of neat and very proper, legible and very proper and aesthetic handwriting. It's only to have an average handwriting. In actual means, you were able to complete. No, I was not able to complete all the questions. I have left a question in the I have left a question in the GS1 paper, and also I have left a question in the optional paper too. How to get key topic that every topper talks about. To get the key topic every topper talks about, go for the PYQ, because the questions that are getting repeated in the PYQ are the key areas and key topics. That's only the thing. Working professional 9 to 5, how to manage? Sidharth, try to identify a gap. Even if you're working from 9 to 5, just try to start your preparation from 8 to 12. We will get 4 hours. And also in Saturdays and Sundays, try to prepare for the exam. Sir, if someone is scoring average 67 in Forum Pre and Unacademy 90 plus, is there any scope of qualifying prelims? Bhavya, I have got nearly 50 marks, 50 to 55 marks in many of the mock tests that I attempted last year. I think in Abhyas, as I mentioned earlier, I got rank of 3,000 or 4,000 among the 15,000 people. But but I am here at rank 271. So there is no point in thinking about the mock interview, mock test marks. It is important to have get a make your presence of mind strong during the examination part. Is it okay to rely on coaching notes all alone? Yes, it is also okay to rely on coaching notes all alone, but make sure that the majority of the important topics are covered in your coaching notes. Your views on Animesh Pradhan mains copies. I have just seen only some of the mains copies by Animesh Pradhan sir. I think they are also very helpful because ethics and all, he comes up with different ideas and examples. So I think that's good, but we can rely on multiple topics because we cannot replicate the strategy of a person completely. So it's important to have a diversified approach. In interview, we can give, no, we cannot give it in English. We can give it either in English or in Hindi. How should I prepare history? So history, my approach was to prepare a framework, year-to-year framework approach. For example, taking modern history, I would write a framework of from Plassey, 1757 to 1857 revolt. I have a long framework, and things between them I will be packing there and try to recall it so that I can memorize it. And from 1857 to 1885, formation of Congress, all the events between that I would be writing in a paper and trying to recall. So in that sense, I have made history into compartments of different years, and I tried to fit in things there so that I got the chronology. And every other thing was very easy. How to improve handwriting? Try to write as maximum as you can. Like writing exercise, like taking a newspaper article, trying to copy it, write in a very good handwriting within a limited span of time. So by practicing that, you can improve your handwriting. Sachin's question has all been answered. Please tell us about clearing exam in very first attempt. But I am not a person who has cleared the exam in first attempt. Then how can I say the methods in clearing the exam in first attempt? So I don't have any strategy. If at all I knew that, I would have qualified the exam in first attempt. But again, if you want to clear the exam in first attempt, be dedicated to the examination. Don't avoid all the distraction and focus on preparation completely so that you can clear. Is UPSC reject candidates on father name mismatch? No, it's only the thing is that we have to present. Only you can present you can present a certificate clarifying the father's name. Sachin, I have already answered your question, because if you want to, if you are comfortable with offline coaching, you can retain, remain in Delhi, and if you're comfortable at your home, you can go back. It's according to your comfort. There is no comparison between online and offline coaching. It's completely for the aspirant's comfort only. Best attempts will always be second or third. My best attempt was my fourth attempt, but second and third, whenever I go for a felicitation ceremony, I see the toppers are mostly from second and third attempt, because they get an idea with their first attempt also. So, but there is a friend of mine from Kerala with rank 54 who qualified the examination in her first attempt itself. So I think it is also workoutable, but we need the determination and perseverance for that. How to manage exam pressure? That's very important. But facing exam pressure, I had my friends. I used to play cricket. I used to go for gym. I used to go for walks and tea, etc. Were something that helped me in exam pressure. And also talking to my mentors. And finally, also I had a job in my hand, so that gave me a little bit of stability. And my family was supportive. All these things helped me in facing the exam pressure. For mains topics, what to focus more, depth or width? Sir, it differs from topic to topic. For the polity paper, etc., we need analytical depth. We need to understand the concept also. But coming to GS1 paper, especially history papers, we need more examples. In economics and data-oriented papers, we need more breadth of points. So depth is important in depth-based questions, and width is important. For example, in geography and all, there are certain questions where we cannot come up with multiple points. It should be a very strong, direct question about some geographical aspect or geographical phenomena. There, I think depth matters. And in most of the questions, breadth is something, and diversity of point matters. Barrier 70 to 80 range marks and mock in prelims. For example, Ashwik, if you are writing the prelims writing the polity mock tomorrow, take 2 polity mocks today. Take 2 polity mocks today and study the answer key, so that your 70 to 80 marks can be improved tomorrow. In order to improve the number of marks in a mock test or sectional test, we need to take more sectional test on the previous day and study its answer key so that you can score more in the next day's examination. For mains test series and prelims test series, I think more effective will be coming to Delhi. But I know people who have taken examination prelims and mains online, mostly prelims. Prelims, many people are taking it online test series. But the important is our discipline. If you are disciplined enough to take the test within home, if you are disciplined enough to take test in in a homely setup, I think remaining in home can be useful. It is again according to one personal preferences and personal capabilities. Do we need to master all the subjects? No need to master all the subjects. It's only you have to have an above average understanding about many of the subjects. Current affairs tips: start reading newspaper. We take our 20 to 30 time for preparing for the current affairs, preparing for the newspaper daily, and try to identify the syllabus keywords from the newspaper so that we can prepare prelims notes and mains notes from the newspapers. From where to start writing skill with average English knowledge? See the topper's copies. Take the answer, write an answer, compare it with the topper's copy, give it to ChatGPT and ask them to give suggestions so that we can improve gradually, step by step, our preparation. How to improve my English? Fasil, it's the way of improving English is a language, and we need a very practical method of improving English. So you have to read more, you have to listen more, you have to speak more. You have to write more, then only we can improve our English. So try to read as much as possible, newspapers, books, etc. Try to speak before the mirror your English. Try to record it and re-listen it. Try to write in English so that your English becomes important. Which coaching did you essentially take? I took offline coaching. I've also said that earlier. How to articulate and in exam. How to articulate and. So I didn't get that question. What should be the revision strategy? Why does it take a subject takes months for the same subject to come again? Because we have more number of subject and more content. So daily revision or weekly revision or monthly revision is not enough. So try to give us a more practical and realistic method of revising. For example, before the prelims test series is a revision program where we revise all the things that we have studied in the class again for the prelims. And the full test, taking full test is also a revision. Taking PYQ is also a revision. So adjust your revision according to that. My answer key based method was something that helped me in a revision also. So my revision was mainly answer key oriented and also PYQ oriented. So that kind of revisions can also be utilized. If I was also in your place, I would have taken offline coaching because offline coaching is something comfortable for me. I don't know your perception of coaching. Pursuing post-graduation, preparing for UPSC, what factors should they consider before choosing? I think before post-graduation and UPSC, you just think about your priorities. If your priority is job security in the immediate method, you can go for UPSC preparation. If your importance is developing a plan B, you can go for post-graduation. You can write the UGC NET examination, take JRF, join for PhD. So think about your priorities. If your priority is an immediate job, come to the coaching as immediate as possible. If your priority is developing a plan B, then go for post-graduation. So I think I have answered almost all the questions and it's nearly 7:30. Articulate answer and examination. Articulating answer has multiple perspectives. One thing is including figures, maps, diagrams, etc. Second thing is making headings more clear, because rather than giving some random headings, give a very clear and concise heading that is taken directly from the question. For example, if a question is being asked about the significance of reasons behind the increase of women's suicide in India, make the heading similar. Reasons behind young women suicide. So the heading should be same as that of the question, so that the clarity of the answer will be great. How to set boundaries? Take PYQs. Think about the extent to which questions are being asked. For example, if you are studying about species, there have been no question in the UPSC PYQ regarding the IUCN status of the species. So we don't have to study that. So that is the boundary. While studying polity, there is no question where a directly article related to something has been asked. So we don't have to mug up all the articles. So in that sense, go to the PYQ and identify whether this detail has been asked in any of the question. If there is it is asked one time or two time, we can just think if only the questions are from this particular area or particular depth of questions has been asked more than 2 or 3 times, you can take it as a priority area. Did you ever felt you were falling between depth? Many times, because I had a very low ranks in many of the test series, etc. So at that point in time, I have always looked at the toppers interviews. There are many toppers who said that it is very difficult. They all got low marks in the prelims preparation, even in the mock test, etc. So I thought their words as my Bible, so that I don't have a problem. Sorry, we took online coaching, then 300 rupees sat back, the scene screen only. What about the time wasted traveling and other thing? Take online coaching, then the 200 really sat back. Also, we have also set the screen only. You know, I think the offline coaching helps us to interact with the faculties more. In our coaching centers and all, we have direct access to the academic directors and faculty. So I thought offline coaching would help me in keeping my attention span there, because in screen I don't get as much as attention as everybody else gets. Sir, I cleared the concepts part of NCRT, but while writing, I'm able to write more descriptive well. Also, that's not coming to. So from where to get keyword? Try to give it to the ChatGPT and write it as concise as it can be, and get a keyword approach. Also, refer to the toppers copies. How can I join the Telegram channel? I've posted the link here. So this is my Telegram channel. So with that, I have came to the end of the session. Thank you. I have taken nearly 1.5 years. 1.5 hours to complete the session. No, I have not taken any offline coaching at Delhi. I have taken offline coaching at Trivandrum only. So thank you all for listening to the session. And if at all there is anything that you need to communicate, you can communicate with the YouTube channel admin, so that I can answer it to them. And also I will be putting a Google Sheet in my Telegram channel, so that you can ask me the questions where I can answer it as writings in the my Telegram channel. Thank you for your patient listening. Thank you. Have a nice day.